It's your birthday and you invite your friend for a treat to a pizza store. The pizza arrives at the table, hot, steaming, and smelling incredible. You smile, a little too excited, and say, "You're hot." Sorry, I mean, it's hot. The pizza is hot. Out of the embarrassment, you take a huge bite of the pizza and you burn your tongue. You thought the crust is safe to touch, but the sauce feels like molten lava. They came out of the same oven at the same time. So, why is one hotter than the other? To understand this, we have to stop using heat and temperature as the same word. Heat is the energy we supply or pump into a substance, while temperature is the measurement of the movements of the tiny particles of any substance. The more energy we give to a substance, the faster its particles move and higher goes its temperature. But here is the crucial point. Not all energy shows up as temperature. In some particles, especially in complex ones, the energy we give them not only causes them to move around in space, but also causes them to rotate, vibrate, or stretch their bonds. So, this extra energy doesn't show up as temperature rise on a thermometer because the particles aren't changing their position in space by such motions. So, this extra energy is stored internally in different kinds of motion. And because of this, different substances can hold different amounts of energy. Some materials can store a lot of heat energy without raising their temperature much. In physics, we call this ability heat capacity. Or simply put, it is the capacity of a material to hold the heat energy. Think of it like two different substances having different sized buckets and energy as the water. The substance with the smaller bucket fills up with just a little water. The level rises instantly. We say it has low heat capacity, while the one with the bigger bucket can take much more water before the level rises significantly. We say it has high heat capacity. In the same way, a material with low heat capacity stores little energy and changes temperature quickly, while the material with high heat capacity can store more energy without a large temperature change. That is the reason when we leave a metal spoon in a cup of hot tea, it heats up literally within seconds because it has a low heat capacity. It only needs a tiny bit of energy to raise its temperature to the tea's temperature. This is also exactly why we use copper or stainless steel for cooking pans. They have low heat capacity, so they raise their temperature fast without absorbing too much energy. They get hot quickly and start transferring that heat to the food almost immediately. Now, since we are people who secretly enjoy a little math and equations, let's put this idea into symbols. Suppose we give Q amount of heat to a substance and that raises its temperature from T1 to T2. The heat capacity of that substance is given by this. In other words, heat capacity tells us how much heat is absorbed for a given rise in temperature. But usually it is written as this. These triangles are just there to look cool. They simply mean the change. Here delta Q is the change in the heat of the body and delta T is the change in its temperature. But there is one more thing we need to be careful about. If the substance is present in a very large amount, it naturally needs more heat to raise its temperature, simply because there are too many buckets to fill to bring them all to the same level. A cup of water and a swimming pool are made of the same material, but a swimming pool can store much larger heat without its temperature rising significantly. This tells us something important. Heat capacity depends not only on the material but also on how much of the material we have. So, to compare materials fairly, we must fix the amount of substance. Physicists therefore ask a more precise question. How much heat does 1 kilogram of a substance need to raise its temperature by 1 degree? We call this quantity specific heat capacity. We represent it by the symbol small c. So, if a substance of mass m has a specific heat capacity C and its temperature changes by delta T, then total heat absorbed by the substance is this. This equation clearly tells us what we have learned. More mass means more heat is needed. High specific heat means more energy can be stored. And a larger temperature change requires more heat. From this equation, we can also understand the unit of specific heat capacity. Since heat energy is measured in joules, mass in kilograms, and temperature in Kelvin, the unit of specific heat capacity becomes joules per kilogram per Kelvin. This single property quietly controls how the world around us heats up. When we walk bare feet on the beach on a sunny day, the sand beneath feels painfully hot. But the moment we step into the water, it feels refreshingly cool. It isn't just a feeling, the water is actually cool. Even though the sun has been shining on both for the exact same amount of the time, the difference is because the sand has low specific heat. It only needs a little energy and its temperature rises quickly. Meanwhile, the water has very high specific heat capacity. It keeps absorbing the heat from the sun without its temperature rising much. And that's not all. The ocean is unimaginably large. Because there is so much water, which means very high mass, its total heat capacity increases even further. That is why oceans don't boil during the day. And that is why places near the sea experience gentler, more stable climates, while the inland deserts swing from scorching to freezing. The same idea appears in our daily life. When we add water to the food while cooking, it prevents it from burning because water absorbs heat without raising temperature. This property even helps us maintain the temperature of our own body. Because our body is mostly water, it absorbs or releases heat as the weather changes, keeping our temperature relatively steady. That is also why water is used as a coolant in car engines. We see water used everywhere. There must be something special about it. Water doesn't just have a massive appetite for heat. It also exhibits strange behavior near 4 degrees Celsius, which makes the ice lighter than the water it came from. I have talked about that in another video. But here, let's focus on how hungry water really is for heat. Water has a specific capacity of about 4200 joules per kilogram per degree. That is unusually high. To put that in perspective, iron or steel needs only about 450 joules. It means that if you give the same amount of heat to 1 kilogram of water and 1 kilogram of metal, the metal heats up quickly while water barely changes its temperature. So, what is so special about water? Well, we have already uncovered this answer. The water molecule is relatively complex. One oxygen atom bonded with 2 hydrogen atoms. When we heat water, the energy doesn't just make the molecules move faster, which is what we measure as temperature. It also makes them rotate, vibrate, stretch their bonds, and constantly break and reform hydrogen bonds. All the energy gets stored in all these extra movements. Because of this, water can absorb a huge amount of heat without its temperature rising rapidly. And thankfully, this single property stabilizes the temperature of our planet. If water heated up as quickly as sand, Earth would experience extreme temperature swings daily. It would have been uninhabitable. Instead, the oceans act as a global thermostat, soaking up heat in the summer and slowly releasing it in the winter. That is why, when scientists search for habitable planets in the sky, they look for water worlds. Because a planet with water has a much better chance of having a stable climate. Before we finish it, I want you to remember higher temperature does not always mean more heat. The same amount of heat does not mean the same temperature rise. Heat capacity and specific heat capacity are two different things. And in case you are still wondering about that birthday pizza, well, now it's simple. The crust has low heat capacity and the sauce has the water. So even though they were heated together in the oven, sauce stored way more energy than the crust. So when the pizza came out of the oven, crust loses its little stored heat energy quickly. But sauce still had enough to teach us a little physics. Happy physics and happy birthday. I would love to hear from you. What surprised you the most about heat capacity? Have you had any weird experiences about heat and temperature? Let me know in the comments. Share this video with someone who still thinks physics is just formulas. Also, if you feel like supporting the channel, there is a Patreon link below. And if you enjoy exploring physics like this, don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, keep being curious.